Hello, boys and girls, it's Mrs. Gorski back. And today what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at a new type of graph today. That graph is called a pictograph. So first, before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about how graphs are important. So let's remember, graphs are important because it takes information or data that we have collected and it puts it into some form like this in order for us to make sure we are reading, seeing, and understanding this information correctly. It actually helps us understand and see it much easier as well. So let's talk a little bit about what our pictograph has. So obviously our pictograph has a title. Every graph that you're going to be dealing with will have a title. Why are titles important? Because it tells me exactly what this graph is going to be talking about. So this particular graph is talking about boxes of candy sold. So whether it's talking about boxes of candy sold at a candy shop, or maybe it could be an organization that is selling candies for a fundraiser. It all depends. It could go either way. But definitely it's talking about boxes of candy sold. When taking a look on the side of my pictograph, I see Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those are the days where data or information was collected and they counted how many boxes of candy was sold on those days. So, how do I know how to count these boxes? How do I know how to count these candy pieces? Well, if you look down here, there's something that we call a key. The key means it's showing the picture of what is in our pictograph. So you notice it's a candy piece. Each one is equal to 1. So that means if I want to count these candy pieces, that means I'm counting each one by 1. And the key is cool because you can count in different ways. You don't necessarily always have to count by ones. Depending on the data or the information that you're gathering, you could skip count by 2s. You could skip count by 5s or by 10s. Because the greater amount of information that you have, you don't want to be counting by 1s. You want to change how that data looks. You want to change how those pictures look so you don't have so many. But since we're only talking about a certain number, a small number, it's easy for me to show each candy piece by 1. So all our information is already put into our pictograph. So I don't have to worry about gathering the information. The information was gathered already and it was placed into our pictograph. So what I could start doing now is I could start asking some questions. And I wonder if you're at home or maybe in a classroom, maybe you could start thinking about some questions that you could be asking pertaining to this graph. So let's ask a few questions and I wonder if you can answer them. So let's see. How many boxes of candy were sold on Thursday? So if you're looking at this graph, where should your eyes go? It should go to Thursday. What should you be doing now? You should be counting how many candy pieces are after the word Thursday. 1, 2. So my question was, how many boxes of candy were sold on Thursday? Your answer should be 2. 1, 2. How do I know that's right? Because only there are 2 candy pieces after Thursday, and each candy piece is worth 1. So I'm only going to be counting by 1s. All right, here's another question. Which day of the week sold the most boxes of candy? Now, I'm not looking for a number answer this time. I'm looking for a day of the week. So I said, where was the most sold? So sometimes you might not even have to count. You could just look with your eyes and see where the most candy pieces are. So in this case, where should your eyes be looking? Right there, right on that weekend day, Saturday. Let's count and see how many boxes were sold that day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 were sold that day. Why does it have the most? Because not only does it have 6, it has the longest or largest group. So that was very easy to see. Okay, here's another question for you. Which 2 days sold the same amount of candy? Which 2 days sold the same amount of candy? So if you're looking, your eyes should be looking at 2 days. I want to know which days sold the same. So if you're thinking and you're looking, I wonder if you already saw them. Wednesday and Friday. Because both of those days sold 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically, that's answering that question. So again, your eyes basically looked at that information in that pictograph and saw it immediately because this information is organized in such a way that it's easy for you to find. I wonder if maybe you can think of a question that you can solve by looking at this graph. So maybe, why don't you take a few minutes at home? Why don't you take a few minutes with your teacher? And maybe you can ask a question to a friend or to your class or to a family member. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed our little tutorial on pictographs. As I said before, I always encourage you to practice at home, and I'll be talking to you again soon. Bye, everyone.